Hi, and welcome to the show. I want to know if you ever feel like you're getting in your own way. I know that sometimes we imagine that we're not in our own way, but somehow we are. My guest today, Joe Wilkinson's an expert. He's on a nowhere tour, and I want to know what that is. Welcome to the show, and tell me, what is a nowhere tour?
Thank you, Michelle. It's nice to be here. The nowhere tour is really just a name. It's an idea of being fully present in the moment of now and here. And so it's not as if we're touring to get anywhere that we haven't been, but to become more clear about where we've always been and to be, fully present in awareness of how we may be getting in our own way. So that was a great lead-in. Thank you.
Yeah, because it does feel like somehow we feel like we're in our own way, but we don't know how to get out of our way. Are you saying being present is the key?
I'm saying that is definitely an aspect of it, and this idea of be present or be here now is sometimes overused or becomes a catchphrase, and it's kind of cliche. And what I'm referring to there is being fully present with the activity of the mind and how your mind can be overactive and cause you to have mental dramas that take you away from the reality of what is. And then that can even be distracting then to the authentic creativity of the natural reflection that your mind serves to the universe and to your experience. So I'm talking about a clarity of awareness of the different voices we have in our mind and which ones serve us and which ones are those blockages that you're referring to.
Go back for just a minute. You said something, I love that, authentic. You didn't say authentic creativity. What was it about?
Well, authentic creativity in relation to the reflection that our mind gives the universe. Correct.
Yeah, I love that. So when we have all these thoughts going on in our mind, you're saying that that's reflected out into the universe, sort of an attraction sort of thing, so what we put out comes back?
Indeed. The way I like to see it, I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase, I'm not in the world is in me. So to actually get into a state of mind that says my experience is actually being lived with my thoughts. The universe is an expression of mind itself. I know it sounds a little out there, but what I'm suggesting is this beingness is what we attract. We attract what we are. And there's been a lot of talk through your messages recently that we're creating our own reality through what we think. And while I agree with a lot of that, I see that some of the blockades people run into is they're thinking about things from perspectives of the mind that are ego-driven rather than spiritually aligned with where the universe is already flowing. And that can create some barriers or blockades to where people don't feel that they're getting the positive results of their authentic creativity. So to be present with what is Spirit already doing through me and clearing the lens of shadows of egoic desire and getting in line with spiritual desire, then it's already happening and you just get to be in the flow with it. Am I making sense?
Yeah, let me see if I understand this. You're giving me a concept which is to let go of all my thoughts that are going on and not even try to reframe my thoughts to create my own reality, which is what a lot of other people say. What we think is what we create. You're even saying let go of that layer and go deeper, which is almost more an intuitive thought rather than a mind thought, and to create our reality from there and notice what's happening at a deeper level. Am I understanding you correctly?
I think that to say it's intuitive is very well stated. To say that it's the level of surrender that's even beyond saying I can create my reality with my thoughts. It's to get in alignment with the infinite intelligence of the universe. And sometimes I think what we don't do enough of is just be completely aware of the intelligence that must be operating for just any moment to happen at all. I mean, when we think about, wow, there is a moment that's happening, there's got to be some crazy kind of intelligence going on just to have this experience be in existence at all. And getting in alignment with that and appreciating that, we can sometimes see it then do things for us that are beyond our own belief, right? So we get out of our mind and out of our way, and then the universe says, well, you think you're pretty smart, look what I've got up my sleeve. So it is being able to say, these are some things that I want from my life experience, and then, you know, getting into that place of allowing, of now, the moment of now and here, which just comes right out of the middle of nowhere and shows up, does so from that space of, I'm the universe that creates worlds.
Do you think we really do have the power then to create our own reality, or is it more of being at peace with the reality that is? You know, it's almost like there's these two different messages coming at us from the spiritual, you know, co-created worlds out there, right? The people say you create your own reality, and then the opposite side that says just be. Are they both true, or neither of them true? It seems like two polarities.
That's an excellent question, and I do run into this quite regularly, even in my own experience, to balance between that, because we do have a desire to be co-creative with the universe. We do have thoughts that we want to imply into our experience. The question for me is, are the desires coming from the questioning of the universe first? In other words, am I tuning into the highest possible inquiry to then be in alignment with my highest possible creativity, rather than saying, big house, fast car, nice looking girlfriend? You know, because those are things we're taught to desire through media and our, you know, culture the way it is now, versus saying, maybe what universe wants you to do is realize yourself on a grander scale and free yourself from all barriers and limitations by not even concerning yourself with what you want. So it is kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I think you bring up a very good point. I mean, you can talk about this a lot, and I think to answer your question as directly as possible, I think yes, both and. I think both are true. And I think the more we're aware of where our desires are arising from and where universal intention is moving, then what we're thinking automatically creates desires that are in alignment with where flow is going already. Am I making sense about how that becomes a win-win-win proposition?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to think of it as really tuning in to a bigger consciousness about where I'm going or what my next step is, rather than me thinking about what my next step is.
And that's really well stated. What I'm saying in agreement with you is, I'm not thinking about what I'm thinking. I'm experiencing what my thoughts are that create joy, you know, and show up as joy.
I think that helped. It's all the thinking of the thinking, yeah.
Right. So when I'm observing that I have these different voices of thought that are going through my head, I want to ask myself, do these voices have my best interest at heart? You know, so we've heard the mind, body, spirit triumvirate, and if we put that in the spirit, mind, body order, you know, so we're really operating from spirit, so we can observe what our mind is thinking about that, then we see that our body exists as an experiential biosensory suit. And it's all part of the universe. You know, it's, again, my body's being created and 50 trillion cells are being organized by something I don't have to think about consciously. So maybe I want to get in line with that energy that's taking care of all the details for me.
I love the way you just put that, and you ask the question, are my thoughts really serving my best interest? And that's a great question to ask ourselves. Now, you have a couple of books. People can find you at the nowheretour.com, and you're on Facebook and website and so forth. And you do have a couple of books. People can go and find out about them. One is called The Nowhere Tour. Tell me briefly about that book.
The Nowhere Tour guidebook is actually the second book of the two that I have out in the market right now. It was actually inspired by my mother, who said, people want to know the story of how you came to this way of thinking when you wrote the Awakenings book. So the Nowhere Tour guidebook is, you know, it's about 90 pages long. I believe that we don't have a lot of attention span to grab. So it's about half and half, where there's the first half of the book kind of tells the story about how I came to some of these expansions in awareness, and then what some of my practices are to both arrive there and then function in the world of duality. I mean, you can have this big awakening and see, oh wow, we live in a unified world. Everything is, we're all one. We hear that a lot. But that doesn't make sense in the role playing that we have, in our living experience. So in the Nowhere Tour Guidebook, I talk about how I function then in the world of duality while still trying to function from unity consciousness, which is, quite a dance to play. Awakening is a book that talks a lot more about that awareness and that consciousness. So for some people, it was very esoteric. The material was kind of out there. And so that's why we put the guidebook out in front of it to kind of give a suggestion. This is the path I'm on, and if this is something that, your mind is entertaining, then there's, some volumes there. It's been helpful for those who are ready, willing, and able to have that message show up for them.
Joe, it's been great having you on the show today. I wish you lots of non-thinking.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I wish for you to have flow out of mind as well.